Is a 27-year-old motorcycle still relevant in 2020? Well, I just bought one, so let's go find out. Welcome back to the channel, guys. So the question today is a 27-year-old motorcycle or just an older motorcycle still relevant in 2020? Or is it worth buying the latest and greatest tech and having the biggest amount of fun? So let's answer this question. So I've been searching the net for a little while now, and there's quite a few bikes, but for me in particular I need something that's road legal, so it has to be a bit of a dual sport or an enduro spec. So that already narrows the margin quite a bit. But our biggest thing is we don't like to trail our bike somewhere then ride. We like to ride there, ride, and then ride home. The more riding the better. Before we get into the specs, let's go see what the bike does. It's not a matter of who's got more horsepower, who's got this. It's about having fun, and that's the biggest thing. So let's go hit the track. Alrighty, welcome to the motor vlog today. So today we're on the KDX 125 SR. This is a 1993, sold to me as a 98, but 93. Let's go get the riding on. So first thing I noticed on the track is that the suspension on this bike is amazing. It's really nice and soft. It'll let me jump, let me do what I need to do, but still feel in control. It doesn't feel squishy, it just feels right. With that said, at some point I do need to rebuild these shocks, but I'll do a little video on that, show you guys how simple it is. Yes, nothing! With the suspension the way it is, the front end doesn't feel like it wants to wash out easily, which gives you some good confidence in the corners. I think the weight is also important at this point. I've gone for really a light bike and you can feel the difference. So the biggest thing I noticed going obviously from a 660 to a 125 two-stroke is you got to learn how to ride the bike. Obviously this sort of style is a two-stroke motor which needs to be revved, needs to be in its power band, but if you keep it up there, she's a bunch of fun. If you're enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you really like bikes and you're really passionate about it, I'd recommend subscribing. There's going to be plenty more. So first impressions of the seat, it's very comfortable. You're obviously on the saddle for most of the day. Yes, a lot of it is standing, but you do want a nice comfortable seat. So I'm really appreciative of that. So first thing I did as I got the bike, I changed out the handlebars, the grips, and I put on handguards. Well, why did I do that? To modernize it? No, not really. The first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to actually raise the handlebars a little bit, and I thought instead of getting handlebar risers, let me get a set of raised bars and just look neater, and obviously you get the perk of a nice new set of bars to look at, which is always great. The grips, I've just changed same time as the bars. Often the grips are glued to the bars or whatever, you need to cut them off, so to get everything off, to change the bars, I thought let me put on a new set of grips, and the Pro Taper pillow tops are really nice and comfortable. So the final thing are the handguards. On the dirt things can go wrong, so you want your bike to be able to fall without having the brake levers and stuff like that. It's nice to just have that extra protection, and then when you're riding, especially in winter, the wind's not hitting your knuckles as hard, so it's quite nice. A little bit of wind protection, and obviously if you're riding behind someone and they're flicking up gravel and stuff like that, your hands are a bit better protected. So this is the newest member to our Dual Sport South Africa group, Nelson, and he's killing it on his old school Honda. So my initial thought of the foot pegs was that they would be too small. They are little narrow foot pegs. If you look at the newer bikes, they typically have a wider foot peg. However, I had no problems riding for 5-6 hours, so I don't think it's an issue. But at any point I can weld on an extra piece to make those foot pegs a little bit wider.
He's literally holding his laptop.
Just a couple tech specs on the Kawasaki KDX 125 SR. So it's a 2-stroke single cylinder with KRPS, which is the power valve system that Kawasaki uses. So it's a 125, water cooled, runs a K and carb. It's kickstart only with about 24 horsepower out of the factory. So let's go ahead and assume it's quite a bit less than that. However, it is still 6-speed, so this allows me to ride on the road without any issues. Actually managed to hit about 100 k's an hour, and that wasn't pushing the bike, so I'm quite glad that it will do those sorts of speeds. Not that it needs to do those sorts of speeds all the time. So yes, sometimes you will break down, but most likely it will be a simple fix. Like me, I ran out of fuel.
Okay, we're just gonna top this up with some Heineken. Some green fuel for the green bike, baby.
Yeah, Heineken for the green bike.
Come on, give it to me, baby.
Something I need to keep an eye on. I don't have a fuel gauge anymore, so it's definitely good to have a look in the fuel tank.
Yeah, that's a good air.
For me, and this is the most impressive spec of this bike, dry weight is 98 kilograms, carries about a litre worth of oil, call it a litre worth of water, and about 9 litres worth of fuel. So about 110, 111 kgs all up. That is brilliant. As you just saw, we had one hell of a time with that bike. There's absolutely nothing wrong with an older bike, especially when you're putting around, you're having a little bit of fun with your mates. Sure, yes, if you're going to a pro level or a really hard level where you're jumping a lot, you need the power, or you're racing, different story. Then yes, you're going to have to invest in the more expensive tech. However, for an average Joe like me, yes, it is still relevant in 2020. Whether it's perfect for my needs yet, I don't know. We only managed to hit the enduro track. We still need to hit some dual sport riding, but that's coming along, so that's no worries. So, the advantages versus the disadvantages of an older bike. So, the advantages are typically you can find some second-hand parts, or things are a little bit cheaper because the bike's obviously cheaper. However, for example, with the case of my bike, they've stopped production many years ago, so some parts are harder to get. So you're just going to have to go through, make sure you're getting what you need and that you can get parts for it. Barring that, I mean, the barrier to entry is extremely low. You're going to be spending just a little bit of money, especially in comparison to one of those bigger bikes where, you know, the guys are spending 140,000 Rand on essentially a toy. And I'm not in the position to do that. However, I don't need to do that. I like riding for fun. And I think the biggest thing is find the right group of people to ride with. If you're going to be riding with friends, with people that have the same interests as you, then yes, it's perfect. I mean, we've got a bunch of old bikes in our group. We've got some new ones. We've got a whole array. I mean, I was on the Tenere 660. I actually sold that to get a lighter and more nimble bike. And this is it. So the biggest thing is just surround yourself with people that are similarly inclined. If you're going to be riding a 125 and all your mates on 300 two-stroke, yes, you're probably not going to have the best day. However, if all your mates are on a similar sort of CC or just a similar level in terms of they're not racing and they don't need to push, then it's perfect. That's what I'm going to leave you with, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you had one cracker time. Woo!
I'll see you out on the next ride.